Greetings once again, demons. Duuz-Diz-Din, back with another chapter of Dead Rock, Hiro Mashima's newest manga. Monthly and short-lived, but we'll enjoy it while it's here. The story: a young man named Yakuto has come, along with many other beings from the demonic realm, to enter the school known as Dead Rock, to decide who will be the next demon king who will be sent to Earth in order to try and conquer it by the demon realm god. The entrance exam was harsh, and very few passed, all of which were crammed into one class. Honey, Freyr, Hein, Ryzen, Mikoto, Choco, and Yakuto himself. However, Yakuto seems to hold a dark and mysterious secret. He's a black dragon, looking a lot like Acnologia from Fairy Tail, beings who were said to have been extinct. On top of that, while he seems innocent and pure at first, he's vile, malicious, and bloodthirsty. And on the first day of class, he asserts his dominance by killing the teacher, taking command of all the other students in his class, and declaring that he will be the one to kill the god of the demon realm. But why does Yakuto want this? Could it be that he's not down with the demon clown? Could he be a hero in disguise? Or does he wish to be the god of the demon realm himself? And will his classmates truly be made to follow him? Or will they take any opportunity to stab him in the back? Join me as I find out, won't you? Alright, Dead Rock, Chapter 2. School Rules, Article 3. Kill God. He hides a strong will behind a calm expression. It's so surreal because he looks like evil Haru from Rave Master. And we pick back up with Yakuto saying, "I will kill God." Jeez, the headless corpse of the teacher lying on the floor. All the other students look on, sweating profusely and nervously. All except Freyr. She's down to clown with all this. Yakuto then goes to explain, "That's why I came to this school." But the little bird Choco says, "When you say God, you mean our school principal? But he's literally God, dude. He's the strongest. No, the evilest man in all the realm." See a depiction of him with the ground shattering, the background in flames. I mean, he better live up to that legacy. Ryzen then says, slamming his fist on the table, "Answer me this, asshole. Who the hell killed their homeroom teacher on their first day? Are you insane?" Yakuto then says, calmly with a smile, "I'm going to kill all the teachers of this school either way. I simply wanted you all to know how serious I was." Hien is shocked, questioning, "I know I asked this before, but are you stupid?" And Choco confirms, shocked as well, he's totally stupid. Hien then begins to unsheath his sword, saying, "But why?" He then pulls it on Yakuto with the tip of his blade inches before Yakuto's face. Hien questions, "Why do you wish to kill God?" Unfazed, Yakuto then says, "Because he is an imposter. That god of ours is a fake." Hien is shocked by this statement, while Freyr simply asks, "What do you mean?" Yakuto begins to push Hien's blade to the side, commenting, "That's cold." He then explains, "It's strange when you think about it. Why would the ruler of the demon realm call himself God?" Hien questions, "Really?" Yakuto says, "Normally, the sovereign of the demon realm would call himself something like the Demon King, Devil General, or Emperor of Hell." Choco says, You got a point." Yakuto then says, "In any case, the demon realm must have had a rightful sovereign before God came to rule." Mikoto comments skeptically, full of skepticism, I'll say. "Must have? So you have no proof?" Freyr then questions, "So he did something that stupid because of a guess?" Then she says, "I'm so in love." Hien then questions, "Are you stupid?" I get it, Hien, it's your catchphrase, but it ain't catching on like the ice. Did Eden Zero have a character with a catchphrase? Would it have been Pino? I wonder. Yakuto, still smiling, says, "I wish to return the demon realm to its true state." Mikoto gives this solemn but genuine smile. But Ryzen gets up saying, "Don't joke with us, and don't drag us into that. If you want to pick a fight with the god and die, knock yourself out." As he exits, Yakuto questions, "Oh, So, are you telling on us? Ryzen, exiting the room, says, no, that's lame, not my style. But get this, before God even gets a chance to kill you, I'm gonna cut you up myself. He also then sheaths his sword and goes to exit, saying, I too do not agree with you, but neither will I stop you. And he leaves. But Mikoto stays, a genuine smile on her face, questioning, a false god? I admit I find that intriguing, but... And he interrupts, saying, what do we do about this? Our teacher's body! Freyr then asks Yakuto, want me to burn it? And Hien says, no way, are you stupid? Even if no one tells on us, they'll find out sooner or later, Hien says to Yakuto, who says nothing in the moment. Mikoto, who is barefoot, so there's Mashima's foot fetish, is then asked by Yakuto, Mikoto, you control corpses, right? Mikoto says, well, my roots are a lich after all, and she commands the professor's body to rise, and I believe Hien then shrieks from the disgusting display. Oh god. Yakuto then takes Choco and shoves Choco's small body where Professor Maxwell's head was. As Yakuto says, this should cover our tracks for a while. Choco says, wow, this is so gross. And Hien says, that won't fool anyone. Are you stupid? Choco then pauses from being completely grossed out, then says, this dude's hollow inside. No, Choco, not Choco. Yakuto taps on Maxwell's stomach, saying, I see. So Professor Maxwell had golem roots. So he's part golem? I mean, can you repair him then? That's weird. Freyr turns to Hien and says, hey, he's just like you. And Hien says, my roots are Thor, god of thunder. But I'm often told I look just like a clay figure. See, I'm really starting to wonder about that, Hien. Yakuto then gives a smile, saying, in that case, he might have a spare head in his room. I'll go grab it. He says, running out, followed by Freyr, who says, I'm coming too. Mikoto has a combination of bewildered and annoyed on her face as she questions, what is with that boy? While Choco says, you're crazy, dude. You don't just stuff a young lady in a dead body. Huh? And Hien says, huh? You're a girl? Yeah, I was caught off guard by that too. Huh. We then pick up in Dead Rock Cafeteria, Hell's Kitchen. I don't know if you're going to be able to call that what you did for long. God, it's like a demonic version of the lunchroom from Harry Potter. You see little demon imps cooking up a storm and a variety of creatures chowing down. And we see Ryzen eating something. Ryzen says to himself, every student here dreams of becoming a demon king. I'm not letting that crazy son of a bitch get in the way. Suddenly, some unknown figures approach him from behind, saying, well, looky here. You're from this year's class F, ain't ya? Ryzen turns with a scowl, questioning, huh? Man, those looks. The male student says, they say you got into school through some dumb exam 'cause you got no education. The female says, ooh, what kind of test was it? The male says, what was it, an extermination? The girl says, for reals? That's so funny, seriously. Ryzen doesn't say anything to them, though. The male student then says, can't believe you got into Dead Rock by killing some ants. I guess the school ain't such a big shit after all. The female then says, OMG, me too. I think it's like super lame. Feels like we should gone to Four Heavenly Kings training school, right? Ryzen then says, I'm eating here. Get lost. The male student then says, but you know this school's rules are really something else. Dead Rock School Rules Article 3. Kill anyone you don't like. Of course. The female says, that's so cool. It's written here in my student handbook. Like, seriously. Ryzen, while eating some ramen, says that school rule is dead on arrival. Oh, I see the little character in his ramen bowl. A little tiny whatever that Mashima draws from time to time. The male student then produces a blade out of his forearm, saying, so that means there's no punishment if I kill you right here. And without missing a beat, Ryzen uses his giant broadsword to just top off both of their heads, killing them instantly, before they probably even had time to think about it. As Ryzen says, well, that's a relief. As the two's heads hit the floor, damn, the other students say, what's with that guy? In an instant, what's with that guy? They started it. Ryzen then sets his sword on the table, wiping it down, saying, "Shit, I got my princess dirty again while I was eating." Still looks like the Ten Commandments sword. Suddenly a figure starts approaching. A giant figure. Ryzen sees him coming as the person says, "Wee wee ho. Wee wee ho." Okay. Is he wearing a chef's hat? Ryzen looks over and yep, that person is definitely wearing a chef's hat with an apron. Manager of Hell's Kitchen. Ogre, the head chef. He's a big boy. Oh, Ogre then picks up the decapitated bodies. Ryzen says they're the ones who started it. And Ogre just turns to leave saying, "Wee wee ho." Ryzen questions, "Hey, what are you gonna do with that?" And Ogre simply turns to him and says, "Eat it." Okay. Damn. Ryzen, as well as several of the other students, kind of freak out a little bit about that. As Ryzen then questions, "Don't tell me, you don't use students' bodies for cooking, do you?" Ogre, without turning his head to Ryzen, says, "Once in a while." The other students then proceed to throw up. Ryzen then asks, "And today's ingredients are?" Ogre says, "I'm not putting her in because I'm gonna eat her," he says with a sadistic look on his face as he turns to Ryzen. And Ryzen is startled by this. Oh, he has a flashback. Someone yelling out, "Ryzen!" Ryzen, in a collapsing building, calls out, "Princess!" And the princess, who has been run through with the sword that would be Ryzen, she reaches out for Ryzen with shock and horror in her eyes, saying, "Save me." The man stabbing the princess says, "The princess has become my meal." Ryzen looks on in horror as the man says, "This curse can only be broken by a demon king's power." The man says to Ryzen as he turns to him, a look of madness in his eyes. Ryzen then says, "I have to become a demon king." The ogre doesn't turn to Ryzen. Ryzen then says to him, "Hey, the rules here say you can kill anyone you don't like, right?" As he gets up and walks towards the ogre. The ogre then turns to Ryzen, continuing his chant of "wee wee ho" as he nods. Ryzen, readying himself, says, "So that means you can even kill teachers and stuff, right?" Ogre says with a smile, "Sure, if you can." Ryzen then says, "Right when I was feeling pissed." He goes to swing his sword. Ogre goes to swing his giant bloody butcher knife. Oh jeez. And in an instant, Ryzen is cut down into a variety of pieces. Ryzen's severed head lets out, "Huh?" And with a look of shock on his face, Ogre smiles, once again saying, "Wee wee ho." The other students look on in shock and horror, saying, while other students say, "Oh well, you just had to pick a fight with head chef Ogre, that poor freshman." And as Ryzen's severed head hits the ground, he can only think, "No way, I'm dead." But suddenly someone approaches Ogre, saying, "Dead Rock School Rules, Article 3. You shall kill anyone you don't like." "I see. So it applies to teachers as well." Ogre turns to the person in surprise, seeing Yakuto right behind him. Yakuto then says, "I don't like you for cutting up my classmate." I suppose it's a valid thing to say. He then activates Dragon Build formation as his right arm turns into the arm of the Black Dragon. Ogre doesn't much react to him, as we see Freyr carrying a spare head for Professor Maxwell. And as the other students look on in shock, Yakuto goes in for the punch. Jeez. I love the paneling of that. And with one swift motion, Yakuto blows a hole clean through Ogre as the ghostly image of the Black Dragon appears over Yakuto. Ogre is knocked back, spitting up blood, while Yakuto then questions, "Wait, you're the head chef, right? Do you count as a teacher?" Oh, and while this is going on and Ogre hits the wall, having been flung back by Yakuto, another student with long black hair and cat ears looks on at the sight stunned and simply says to herself, "Black Dragon." Another character? We then cut over to Dead Rock School Dorm Bone Rampage. Jeez. Giant frickin' skull sticking out of this ramshackle looking building. We see a hall of the dorm where several students are just hanging out. And then behind these massive stone and metal doors, we see Ryzen having been stitched back together, and some kind of symbol on his head, begins to wake up. Above him is Yakuto and Chaco, with Yakuto saying, "Thank goodness, it seems you're awake." While Chaco says, "Yo, you remember me?" Ryzen says, "The bug?" And Chaco says, "I'm a bird." As Ryzen gets up, he says, "I should be dead." Mikoto, sitting over in the corner, says, "You are dead." And sitting next to her is Freyr, who has a big old smile on her face, saying, "You got brought back as a zombie." And Mikoto says, "As my puppet." And Ryzen gets up, seeing his body stitched back together, and he screams in shock, "What the fuck?" I mean, it's kind of your own fault, bud. Yakuto then says with a smile, "What a relief." And Ryzen says, freaking out still, "Relief my ass, what did she mean, a zombie?" We see that Hien is also there, who says nothing. And as Hien sits on the edge of his bed, he looks at himself saying, "What's going on? My body is..." And Freyr says, "You were in pieces," and Yakuto picked up every bit. Ryzen turns to Yakuto with a, "Huh?" And Yakuto still has that big old happy smile on his face, saying, "It was pretty gruesome." Hien is there also saying, "I guess that's one good thing about you." And Chaco says, "Well, they are classmates." Something that even causes Hien to give a smile, along with the already smiling Freyr and Mikoto. Ryzen then blushes and says to Yakuto, "How should I put this? You saved me, so..." And Yakuto just smiles. But then that happy smile is more of a menacing smile, as he says coldly, I told you I'd get you all involved. I won't let anyone escape until I kill God." Like, one way or another, you're going to help me. Chaco and Ryzen are just completely shocked. Mikoto has a bit of a nervous look on her face. Well, Freya is still absolutely ecstatic with Yakuto, and Hien just sighs. I mean, while Hanny says, while shaking, "And there goes the good atmosphere. Are you stupid?" Have I been calling Hanny Hien? I feel like I have. I'm still getting used to saying their name. I'm gonna assume that Ryzen says, "And here I thought you might be a okay guy, asshole." And someone else says, "I'm assuming Hien. You can kill all the gods you want, just keep us out of it." And Yakuto then says, "Not a chance. Without all of your help, the demon realm will never return to its true state." True state? But Mikoto then thinks to Yakuto's words, "I wish to return the demon realm to its true state." And Mikoto thinks, such a splendid facade. As she looks on at Yakuto, she gives a bit of a smile, saying, thinking, "But your true goal is something else, isn't it, Yakuto?" Meanwhile, Freyr turns to Professor Maxwell with a new head, saying, "If killing teachers isn't a crime, there was no point in making this." But Yakuto says, "Yes, there was. Our obedient teacher was born, which is convenient for us." Though, Mikoto says, "He's mine, though." Yakuto says, "Professor Maxwell." And the resurrected professor simply laughs, while Yakuto says, "Make sure you work hard until we kill God. Overthrow God. What will Yakuto's next move be?" I continue to be fascinated as hell about this series, because it's hard to see Mashima making a complete villain the protagonist, but Yakuto has no real respect for life. Like, it feels as though each time he's been slowly moving towards a character like this, because with Haru he had his darker impulses from time to time, but ultimately he was very pure. With Natsu, he was rough and tumble, and very nonchalant about hurting certain people, especially enemies. But he would save who he could from time to time. Shiki, very pure person, but he did kind of understand when he just couldn't save someone. But here you have someone who outright goes out of their way to kill people. It is very hard to gauge what he's going for, the true form of the demon realm, and the demon realm god is a false god. So is it possible that Yakuto is maybe like the reincarnation of the true god of the demon realm? And how did this god gain power? Is it simply that he's so long-lived, he's benefited from that? Is it possible that because all of these people are monsters, Yakuto has no regard for their lives because ultimately they'd endanger humanity, so he can be a little bit more vicious towards them? That's kind of what it feels like. It's fascinating. I'm deeply interested, and I'm actually kind of sad that this is a short-lived series, but at the same time, at least I know that it won't go on for a long time, because I heard this isn't supposed to last too long. I mean, Mashima does pretty well with short-lived series, but this could be like Monster Soul and last about 2 volumes worth of content, or maybe it'll be like Monster Hunter Orange, which had 4 volumes. The only downside is that when it came to Monster Soul as well as Monster Hunter Orange, it kind of felt like it could have kept going longer than it did. And that's the one bummer, because Mashima is really good at making stories that can go for a good while. Because let's face it, Fairy Tail ended at a bit over 500 chapters. That ran for a good long while. But with Rave Master, it had a little under 300 chapters. And I don't see Eden Zero going too far past 300. I can see it getting up to 300 chapters because there's still a lot of content left. So I feel like it might be in the 400 range, but I don't think it'll hit 500. I don't think so. But this has such a premise that it feels like you could really expound on. Monster Hunter I didn't see lasting too long because that was a licensed property. Monster Soul, after a certain point, kind of felt like we kind of wrapped up a lot of things. I want to say maybe 200 chapters, because I feel like this could be really good for a while. Or maybe not. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think I was gonna say Aki, because I'm thinking of Monster Soul. What do you think Yakuto's ultimate goal is? Is it simply that he's trying to save the demon world from the demons, and that's why he's so harsh to them, even conscripting his fellow classmates? Or is there more to it than just that? Is he maybe the reincarnation of the Black Dragon? Or is he the Black Dragon himself? It's weird. It's interesting. The mystery really has drawn me in, and I want to know about you. So like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the ride, and until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later. Take care. Bye-bye.